calmness, understanding, patience, consistency. Parenting should feel like this. In this video, we're going to be understanding good parenting tone. I am Nicholeen Peck. I teach parenting all over the world through the lens of self-government. And in this video, we're talking about your tone and how to improve it. In this video, we're going to be talking about the feelings of the parent and why those matter in raising the child. We're also going to talk about the importance of tone and what tone elements you might want to focus on most. And just so you know, at the end of this video, I have a special gift for you that I think will really help you with your tone. The way people feel does matter. We need to understand our feelings, and sometimes it's important to also be able to express our feelings. But here's the thing. When you've got one person who is engaged in trying to understand and express their own feelings and somebody else who's doing the same, we've got a problem. In fact, many times parents will actually start power struggles. I know that they don't want to believe that, but it's true. I've been to a lot of homes and I have seen a lot of families in action as I do trainings for them to teach them the TSG, or Teaching Self-Government Parenting System. They will invite me to their homes to coach them, to examine them, to show them exactly what to fix. And I'll have to bring to their attention sometimes that they actually are starting the power struggles. Now, I know some parents know that. In fact, they wish there was a way not to do that. They say, Nicholeen, how do I stop this? I don't want to be a monster on the inside. Because they notice that when the power struggle occurs, especially when they are the ones starting the power struggle, they are essentially taking the whole family off course. Parents who worry too much about what they are feeling and don't worry about where they're going as much, meaning they're just taking things personally and they're getting stuck in their own emotions, are oftentimes the one who drive the interaction with the child off course. The child wants to be understood. We need to remember that. It's our job to be understanding of that person. Now, I know common sense would say, but they need to understand us too. Yes, but really, we are the more mature ones. We need to get ourselves calm and in an understanding place before we expect them to be calm and in an understanding place too. Let's set the example and let's create a system where everyone can be calm. And the thing is that is totally possible. In fact, that's what I teach all over the world, is how to get calm, how to help someone else be calm without losing your own calmness at the same time. I'm actually a pretty fiery personality. I'm very strong-willed, and I could say anything, kind or hurtful. And I've decided that I don't want to say the hurtful things, that I don't want to engage in the pity parties and the stress and all of those things that I've seen other people around me engage in. Instead, I decided that I deliberately wanted to be a calm version of me. I wanted to be someone who knew her skills and lived according to those skills. You know what that means? That means I wanted to be a self-governed version of me. So there is a principle called self-government. The principle of self-government is one of the roots of freedom. If a person understands that they can be in control of themselves, they can make decisions for themselves, follow through with a plan, and achieve the results that they want for themselves, that person is empowered. No one can control them because they know now they have what it takes to become the version of them that they would like to be. They can now conquer all of their problems. The definition of self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. In order to create an environment where a person learns self-government, it takes two things: a certain type of a tone or feeling in the home and a certain type of a structure. So that's your skills or your tactics that you are going to use, your strategies as a family for solving your problems. But it's the tone that makes all of those skills work well. Now, there are some people that have the tone nailed. They're so understanding, so caring, so loving, but they do not have skills, and so they get pushed over all the time. Then there's some people who have all of the consistency, and they're going to make sure that the child earns their negative consequences and all that kind of stuff, and they're maybe even going to teach their child the skills, but they're going to do it in a way that comes across as militant. That means that their tone needs help, or maybe they even come across with a victim tone. So what does a good tone sound like? Well, I gave you some clues for that at the start of this video. We're going to talk about the elements that make a really great tone and what that does for the teaching environment, as well as the free gift that I have for you. But first, click that subscribe button now. There are so many videos on this channel that are dedicated to helping you improve your parenting, your communication, and your attachment with your family members. You're not going to want to miss them, so hit that subscribe button. So let's talk about some of the most important tone elements that we could be focusing on. So number one tone element is love. And I think most parents love their children. I don't even think you'd probably be watching this video today and spending the time if you didn't love your children and want to be a better version of yourself for them and for you. But sometimes we fall out of love with our children. Sometimes we get annoyed by some of their behaviors and we start behaving in a way that doesn't really keep that relationship and that deep love in mind. So if you have a hard time loving your children, then you're going to want to come up with a plan for how to love your children a little bit more deeply. And I actually talk about how to do that in my TSG, or Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. Another thing that I teach in my TSG parenting course is about the tone element trust. So the opposite of trust is force. If you are forcing your children to do everything, then your home does not have a tone of trust. So how do you establish a tone of trust where they can trust you and you can trust them? Well, it takes some planning on your part and on their part, and then it takes self-governing. If both of you are self-governing, you will feel like you can trust each other more. So again, that's a key tone element. When you trust someone, you should be able to see the goodness inside them instead of all of the flaws. When a person has a good tone of trust, they don't take things personally all the time. So if you take things personally, then possibly you are focusing a little bit more on force, or you are feeling more like the victim. A person who trusts is not a person who feels like the victim. So what's another tone element? How about the tone element of seeking to understand? That's an important one. Children all want to feel understood, and they go to great lengths to get our attention and try to get us to understand. And oftentimes during all of this, it seems like they're power struggling with us and we get annoyed. At that point, so often parents will shut the child down instead of really seeking to understand. We do need to seek to understand. There are skills that we can teach ourselves and our children for how to engage in proper understanding. One of those skills is one of the 4 basic skills that I teach in the TSG parenting course, and it is called disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns how to disagree appropriately and how to receive it when someone is disagreeing appropriately with them, then that opens the doors of communication instead of shutting them down. Another tone element is consistency. Many parents struggle with consistency. They get tired. Parenting is very draining sometimes, especially when it, day after day, there's new things that we have to handle all the time. But when a parent sets things up right ahead of time, meaning they've got some forethought, some vision, some planning, then usually it's not as draining. Even though it could be draining some days, though, we need to follow through with the teaching that the children need. Another good tone element is preparation. A good parent prepares the family for what is to come. I call this pre-teaching. When you pre-teach your children for the way that you will correct them and what skills they need to succeed, everyone is happier and has less anxiety. This brings me to another tone element, which is safety. Home should be the safest place to make mistakes, but it's not going to feel safe if it seems like somebody's making things up on the fly all the time. We need to have a secure feeling in the home, which comes with everybody knowing what to expect. Good communication is another tone element. Having good, open, honest dialogue with each other creates a tone of safety as well. It helps everybody feel like they belong, which is another tone element, belonging. Our meetings that we have together, I teach how to do those in the TSG parenting course, all lead to a feeling of belonging and problem solving, which are other key factors or tone elements that we want to be bringing into our family culture. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the one that is the hardest for most people, and that is calmness. Many people struggle with calmness. They don't know how to be calm. And I always think to myself when I'm helping them, well, they don't know what they don't know. The way you were parented heavily influences the way that you parent other people. And the people around you and the advice they give also influences you. And if nobody around you knows how to be calm and help somebody else get calm at the same time, you could end up stuck. I'm the type of person who was raised by a father who taught communications. He was amazing. In fact, the majority of the time he was calm because he understood that nonverbal communication and verbal communication were very, very important. But there was a time when Dad's buttons could be pushed and when he would no longer maintain his calmness. At that point, everyone was afraid and we would all run for cover. That meant that he was inconsistent. So if you're going to be calm, try to keep consistency with your calm, or at the very least, if you have a time when you're not calm, go back and redo it. Now, calmness is the rarest quality in human life. It is the poise of a great nature in harmony with itself and its ideals. It is self-confidence, self-reliance, self-centeredness, and absolute control. It is a person who is ready to be focused in an instant to meet any crisis. That definition is from a man named William Jordan in The Majesty of Calmness. One of the best definitions of calmness that I have ever heard. When you are calm, you are ready in an instant to meet any crisis. You were ready before the moment came because you've been working on calmness all the way along. It is a steady progression. It is not something that just instantly happens. It takes time. And I want to help you have the tools that you need so that it won't take as much of your time. I have a free gift for you. Remember, I talked to you about that. Well, it is a Calm Parenting Toolkit, which is actually a course. It's a mini course. It's got 10 lessons, 10 tools that you can utilize to be calm when someone else isn't, and to get you on the road to self-government. In the description below this video, there is a link that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. Click on that link right now and you can get the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free and be on the road to a calmer you and better communication and calmness for your entire family.